Hello and welcome back to the Typical Star Wars podcast. On this episode, we're going to be covering a character breakdown as well as a Legends breakdown of Cobb Vanth. We see him in season 2, episode 1, my bad. I'm Elisha.
And I'm Tyler.
Let's go ahead and jump into it.
All right, let's go.
So, Cobb Vanth. What did you think about seeing him in season 2, episode 1 of The Mandalorian?
It was definitely it was a character I wasn't super familiar with. I had heard rumors of him and only knew a little bit from his Legends days, but overall I think transition from Legends to live action was pretty good. He was a good character. I enjoyed him. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he was a really cool character. I thought he was well done. He was really enjoyable. Again, like you said, I don't know too much from this character. He is from the Aftermath books, the Star Wars Aftermath books, which are Legends books that cover the events after Return of the Jedi. And that's the first time we see him that's his first appearance. And from what I remember seeing, they did a really good job casting him. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with this character, but I wanted to not like him. Like, I feel like because he had Boba Fett's armor, I had a reason to not like him, but they ended up making him somebody I really enjoyed seeing.
What I was just going to say was, you're totally right. In the beginning, I was like, no, that's Boba Fett's armor. Come on. But by the end of it, I was like, when he gave it back to Mando, I was kind of like, he kind of almost deserves that armor.
Yeah, like he worked for it, and seeing him, the way he used it was really, really cool. Like when we see him flying around with the Krayt Dragon, you know, like fighting it, he seemed very, very well, like, familiar with the armor. Like he even though it didn't fit him properly, he still know how to use it well. And one of the things I want to talk about was I had seen a thing a while back ago where it was kind of like a dark side and a light side theme that's kind of been reoccurring throughout Mandalorian, where the armor before Cobb Vanth had it was Boba Fett's, and Boba Fett used it for his own personal gain and his own selfish reasons, versus whereas Cobb Vanth, when he had it, he used it for the opposite. He used it for his selfless reasons, to protect his people and to make sure everybody was safe, and that kind of like the dark side, light side kind of thing. And we see, I hope that that's kind of rubbing off on Mandalorian, because we see that Mandalorian kind of enjoys being a bounty hunter. He's kind of using his armor for his own selfish reasons, but we see that with the child and seeing how Cobb Vanth acts, he's starting to change. He's starting to, you know, like I said in the last episode, he's starting to evolve a bit. You know, he's changing a bit. He's starting to realize, like, hey, maybe there's a little bit more to it than just me. Exactly.
We're definitely seeing a big character change in Mandalorian from stone cold bounty hunter to almost caring father, which is what one of Star Wars' main theme in past episodes. Yeah. It's
really cool to see. And then, so we're gonna go ahead and hop into, I want to compare the Legends versus the Mandalorian we see, or the Mandalorian aspect of Cobb Vanth. So in Legends, like the backstories,
right?
And I think one of the things they did really, really well was that they're very similar. Like the backstories are very, very similar. We see that Cobb Vanth, shortly after the Empire fell, Mos Pelgo was taken over by the Mining Collective because there was that power vacuum, you know? First off, Jabba's gone because he got killed, and then the Empire's gone. So there's two huge power vacuums, and the second that the Empire's, you know, was not really gone, but for the most part wiped out, the power vacuum hits, and then the Red Key Raiders come in, and they take over Mos Pelgo, and then we see Cobb Vanth at the Sandcrawler with what was in, this is in Legends, by the way,
Adwin Charu.
He's a guy with the Red Key Raiders.
Yeah, like a representative,
guys, right? Yeah, he was an employee. So what happens is that they both explore the Sandcrawler together, and then the Red Key Raider guy sees the armor, but Cobb Vanth sees it first, so he shoots the Red Key Raider, and he basically warns him, like, this is my armor, I'm going to use it to protect my town. You better tell your people that I'm going to come out of them. You better tell them to get out of there, otherwise you're going to end up dead. And that's exactly what he does. He drives the people out. And we see kind of a similar thing, except for we don't see the Red Key Raider guy on the Sandcrawler. We just see that Cobb Vanth takes back the armor, and then he uses it to take back Mos Pelgo, and he drives the Red Key Raider, or the Mining Collective, you know, he takes him out, basically.
Yeah, it was a good symmetry. I liked it, how it was pretty parallel to Legends, and the him struggling through the desert. Like you saw a lot of sacrifice and turmoil. Like he could have just gotten on the sandcrawler and gone to Tatooine and given up on his town, but he saw the armor, was like, no, I gotta save my town. He's got that character trait of doing the right thing, not what's best for him, like we discussed on the Light and Dark.
Yeah, and like you said, he could have totally got on the Sand Raider. He could have used the money or the crystals that he had to, pay off the Jawas, maybe give some of it to them, not all of it, and use the rest to get off Tatooine, like you said, which would have been, for his own selfish reasons. But he's like, no, I gotta save my people, and that's exactly what makes him such a cool character in both Legends and canon. And we see him in Mandalorian. The similarities between the two, where it's like, I'm gonna use this to protect and defend rather than for me. He could have gone back, and instead of being the marshal and fighting for the people, he could have used it to take over the town.
Yeah, that's a good point I hadn't thought of, was that he obviously took down the mining collective and the Red Key Raiders in Legends, and he could have just decided to be the new big shot on Tatooine. He could have been the one to fill that power vacuum, but instead,
yeah, like
he
definitely could have taken their place.
Yeah, he just saved his town. And if I'm not mistaken, Pelimoto, the mechanic lady, still says that Tatooine's a very lawless planet, whereas Mos Pelgo's has a fairly functioning society because he fixed it.
Yeah, definitely. And then one of the cool things that I kind of saw, kind of the similarities between the two. In Mandalorian, we see that the Sand people are giving the people of Mos Pelgo the struggles rather than the Red Key Raiders. Like once Cobb Vanth drives them out, that was pretty much it. Whereas in Legends, in the Aftermath books, we see that instead of it being the Sand people that's giving the people of Mos Pelgo trouble, it's still the Red Key Raiders. They're still coming back. They're still giving them issues. And I kind of like the symmetry to see how, like, instead of it being the Sand people, it was the Red Key Raiders in Legends. And we see, like, there's always going to be somebody trying to, take over.
Yeah, and in the show we still saw, so in Legends, Cobb Vanth and the Tusken Raiders team up to eliminate the Red Key Raiders as a group, as a team, and we got to see that in Mandalorian, just slightly different, with the Crate Dragon being the main adversary, but it was the same result of a found and firm camaraderie between the two of them.
Yeah, like you need a common enemy in order for you to join.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
There you go, exactly. And then in Legend, there's a lot. Again, if you guys are interested in learning more about this, we're just kind of going off of what we know. We don't know all the facts for sure, but if you want to read those books, it's definitely worth a read. There's so much in Legends that we're going to be exploring, and of course, we're going to be doing a lot of research. But if you guys feel free to, or if there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about or cover, go, let us know in the comments down below, and we'll be doing polls on our Instagram as well. But there's a lot to cover in Legends, and if you want to really dive deep into the Star Wars lore, go check that out, because there's so
also
much
don't be afraid to call us out if we get something wrong, or there's something we should have covered that about. Totally hit us up. We'd love to cover it again, or just know about it after the fact,
or correct ourselves. Yeah. And with the power vacuum, we know that once Jabba was gone, there was obviously a big power vacuum, because the Hutts had control over
many systems.
That area. Yeah, they had a lot of power.
Many
Even
planets.
Wars,
I'm pretty sure it was Hutt space. Yeah. Like during the Clone Wars, Hutt space was a big part of the galaxy.
Yeah, that they just kind of controlled, and it was like, okay, we have to make sure we're on the good side of the Hutts, because we kind of need to use that space. And then in the Aftermath books, we see that there is another Hutt. Yeah, we just know it's a young Hutt. I don't think we ever see who it is. We just know that there was a Hutt, and what could potentially become of that Hutt. Like, does he end up taking over Tatooine and being like the new Syndicate crime? Because I don't think we ever see a really like a peaceful Hutt.
No, it's an interesting idea. I don't know a ton about the Hutts, but like everything in Clone Wars and original trilogy we saw regarding the Hutts, they were just crime bosses.
Yeah.
We didn't know there wasn't like any pacifists huts we knew about, like
Yeah, it was like the Hutt crime family.
exactly
The Italian
where it
mob of
was.
Star Wars, if you will.
Pretty much. So yeah, we don't know if the little hut eventually becomes the new hut on Tatooine. Like in the sequel trilogy, we see Tatooine obviously, but we don't really know who's running Tatooine.
Yeah, we only see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we only see Tatooine in the last movie.
Didn't we see it in the first movie?
No, that was Jakku.
Ah, you're correct.
Yeah, no, that was
I'm
Jakku.
wrong.
Yeah, no, we only see Tatooine. I believe, if I'm not wrong, when Rey's burying the Anakin's lightsaber, which, like, what the heck? You don't bury Anakin's lightsaber in sand.
I'm sure our viewers will get this, so might as well get the cat out of the bag now. We have tainted opinions about the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, no. There's definitely some yeah, no. We don't really like the sequel trilogy that much. In the future, we hope to in the future talk about the sequel trilogy, and maybe we'll have like a discussion where we have maybe me and Tyler talking against two people that really like the sequel trilogy and having like an argument to see why it's good.
Yeah, or if it's as bad as we think. Anyways, that's totally off topic. Let's get back on topic. Okay, so Hutt, and so anyways, Hutt.
Because there's there's a Hutt on Tatooine. What happens to him? Because we know that he's in free
do know that Cobb Vanth finds the Beastmaster from the original trilogy when Luke falls into the pit with the Rancor. And he kills the Rancor, and then you see that really, really sad guy. That's Jabba's Beastmaster, and he's still alive during this time. And Cobb Vanth finds him and tasks him to take care of the current or new little hut that he found.
It's funny because in the Aftermath books, the Beastmaster is still sad over the death of his Rancor.
Yeah, it makes a note that he's still mourning.
It's very tragic.
Like it's a point in the book. This man, sad, still is sad.
Still sad. Sad man. Very sad man.
Which means we, in canon or legends, we've never seen this man happy.
Oh no.
Think about that.
That's so sad.
It is sad.
No. Sad man.
We see him get sad and then stay sad.
He stays sad. No.
Oh no.
Yeah,
send some love to the Beastmaster. He needs it.
Send some love to the Beastmaster. Smash like for Beastmaster.
Exactly. 1 like equals 1 hug for Beastmaster. Let's see if he can be happy.
Let's see if he can be happy. But in the sequel trilogy, I wish we got to see more of Tatooine, because if we see that obviously a lot of similarities between Legends and what we see in Mandalorian, how much of what we see in Legends is true now? Because obviously it's changed just a bit, but how much of the story after Mandalorian leaves is true? Or how much before Mandalorian arrives is true?
Exactly. We don't know. Obviously, Disney got rid of a lot of Legends when they took over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like the Ahsoka book was rendered Legends after season 7 of Clone Wars came out. And I'm sure there was a few other things.
I'm sure there was a lot that's turned Legends that wasn't.
Yeah, and for sure, because Disney. I have mixed feelings about Disney. Oh, Disney. And then
how we love you and how we despise you for the sequel trilogy.
It's a mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings.
And then, okay, in both canon and in both Legends, Cobb Vanth is just a beast. Can we just talk about that?
Facts. He's an amazing character on the screen and in Legends. It's a great character. I didn't expect to like him as much as I did. He quickly became one of my favorites.
It's cool how we see he's like kind, because he is kind of kind. We see that when the Krayt Dragon first shows up in Mandalorian, it's like he's in the middle of about to fighting the Mandalorian, and like I said, this kind of shows the selflessness versus the selfishness. He, instead of just killing the Mandalorian and that's it, it's over. Well, during the confusion, he decides to put up his finger and be like, let me check on my people real quick. Because again, like I said in the last episode, he knows about the Krayt Dragon. He's not worried about the Krayt Dragon. He's worried about his people.
Exactly.
But at the same time, he's kind of a beast and he knows how to fight. And obviously, he was a single guy drove an entire group of raiders who are known for taking over, big spaces out all by himself.
True, as well as the fact that he knows, he says it twice, how good Mandalorians are at killing, and he stands there facing one down for his people.
He's still ready to duel. I thought that was definitely cool.
It was an intense moment.
Yeah, definitely. From what they did with Legends, because again, we don't see him too much in Legends. Again, if you guys want to see more of Cobb Vanth, go read the Aftermath books. I believe he shows up in 3. I believe he shows up 3 times. But for what we see in Mandalorian, I think that they did a really good job. And Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni obviously did their research for this character, because the similarities between Legends and canon are very, very similar, just with some slight differences. And again, you can't have the same story.
No, I think with the differences, it makes it a different story, but B, some of the ideas in the Legends book wouldn't have made sense for Mandalorian. It was obviously going in a very specific direction. Like we don't know this for sure, but in Legends, we think that Boba Fett kills Cobb Vanth to get his armor back. But in Mandalorian, they could either A, want to bring Cobb back and they wouldn't want him dead. B, having the Red Key Raider guy there, it's a plot I did that it didn't need to be there, so it wasn't there.
Yeah. It's like it's the same, but it's also different. And you can't, because there's the people like us that we kind of know about the story, and then there's the people that they've read the Aftermath books, they know this story, and then when they see Mandalorian, they're like, oh my gosh, I know this story, except it's a little bit different. Because you know what happens, so it's cool to be like, okay, instead of being like, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen, you're kind of like, hey, this is a little bit different, what's going to happen? And then even for the
suspense.
People and for even the people that don't know Cobb Vanth, they still brought in this character, and the people I know that didn't know Cobb Vanth were still like, I really like that character, it was a cool character, and it was well done, and it wasn't a necessity to read the Legends for you to be like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? Like, it was obviously enough for people, some form of fan service, be like, hey, look, we brought in this character from Legends, but they did it well enough to a point where everybody could really enjoy this character.
Yeah, recently I've been seeing a lot of memes with how Disney made like 95% of Star Wars Legends, and then it has Dave Filoni, and he's like, I've been tasked to bring you back to canon. Like a play off with how Mandalorian's been tasked with bringing Baby Yoda back to the Jedi.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to see where Disney's going to go with the Legends aspect, because we've already seen they brought back Cobb Vanth. They brought back Grand Admiral Thrawn, which we will cover on a later date, because that's a big episode. And I'm really, really excited to see what direction they go with this. Like, will they bring in more? Because there's a lot of really interesting stuff in Legends that they could 100% bring in.
Legends is a spot in Star Wars that has unlimited and vastly untapped potential. We are super hyped that we have an episode designated for Legends type stuff, because it's something I really enjoyed learning about and talking about.
Yeah, and we really hope you guys will join us for this, because not only will our knowledge expand, but hopefully your guys will too, and we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, so I think that concluding thoughts
for this episode? Yeah, my final thoughts would be that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have done a really good job with this character, and I hope that they continue to take the care with the show and not be like, oh, hey, here's a character, let's do some fan service real quick, and they actually make sure that it makes sense for the story.
Right, and I think I feel like this most recent season of Mandalorian has been a lot of fan service. It's almost getting oversaturated for my taste, but
don't spoil it.
I'm not saying anything. I haven't spoiled anything that I haven't spoiled. Shush. Anyways, what I was saying was I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have brought in a lot of great things from Legends and some fun ideas, but they still know how to keep it interesting, keep it intriguing, hold back where it needs to be reined in, but
Yeah, they're
have
doing a good
awesome
job
things
so
still
far.
come into the show that we
Yeah,
have wanted
yeah,
to see in live action or in a TV show for a long time.
yeah. And again, stay tuned. We really hope you guys will keep joining us for this, and but everybody's Star Wars knowledge will begin to expand. We're really looking forward to futures episodes. If you guys have any Legends topics you guys want to cover, let us know. Go follow us on our Instagram at the Typical Star Wars Podcast. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe down below. And I think we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for joining us.